Being elected as Rector at Edinburgh University, I had worked in the trade union movement for some time, and that's just briefly what I wanted to talk about. The STUC, the Scottish TUC, and the women's movement that I knew 10, 15, 20 years ago did do and speak up for women in prison. It was part of the campaign work across the country that the trade union movement was doing. The STUC Congress had a meeting with Julie Bindel speaking at it in 2009, and the Women's Committee at that time was working with Julie and others to highlight what was happening in the prisons. We had Baroness Corston came to speak at a women's event in the Scottish Parliament about the work on women in prisons, and we worked to try to campaign and raise awareness of the Angelini Commission recommendations. That's the trade union movement that I knew. Well, still, there are women and men in the movement that are still trying to do these things. I just wanted to take the opportunity to quickly flag that up, because the position that I've seen taken by the leaderships of the trade union movement in recent years is very far removed from that tradition, far removed from that role that I think the Labour movement has had for a long, long time, of speaking up and giving voice to those who don't have a public platform. And that, for me, is what we have to take back, if you like. I think they're out of step with, I think the leaderships of the trade unions are out of step with what women and men, members of the unions, think. I think many members, of course, have been busy doing a job and juggling family, all the things that we know about. Many women here and men today will be members of trade unions and will have thought it's not worth talking to them about this. I just want to appeal to you, talk to them, it's a workplace issue. What happens in the workplace, so what happens in the workplace, many of the conditions that we have around our own workplaces can be covered by health and safety legislation, occupational health policies, workforce planning, support for women during pregnancy and returning to work. Those policies are founded on understanding the difference between male and female workers. They use the language of sex and the impact of, for instance, chemicals in workplaces, lifting, manual work. All these things rely on you understanding, and your trade union reps understanding, the difference between men and women as a sex. So it's really important that we kind of take some of that ground back. And just to pick up, Lucy made this point, there's been very little spoken about female prison staff, not just the prison officers, but right across the estate. And the unions, us women, everybody we need to hear what the female prison officers are saying. We need to hear what all the women working across the prison estate are saying. I want to know about their working conditions, and I want to know how those criteria that allow differences in your workplace as a woman and as a man to access to safe changing facilities, your own space, and recognition of the differences between our bodies as men and as women, all those protections also have to be in place for women who work in the prison service. So it's just an appeal that we keep that, try to make a space for that conversation, and take the trade union movement to task for reminding it, this is what women talk about, this is what we do, and we will give voice.